Hey guys, I'm Native Potato and this is Splash. Basically, I've been doing a game design course at uni, and for this semester we had to make a game in Unity. And yeah, the menu looks pretty crap. That's because in our group we had 4 members, so I was doing all the programming, we had a guy doing all the level design, building all the levels, and we had someone on models and textures, and then we gave the fourth guy, he was supposed to add sound effects. You didn't have to make them, just like find some that were, free to use and just put them in the game, and some background music, and make the menus. And so this is the menu. And like, we didn't end up implementing sound or music, and I literally had to make the menus like in the hour before the thing was due, because like all he'd done were these images, which honestly look like they were just made in paint. They're black and white, and yeah, but whatever. I just got it to work. It was just like, it's due in 5 minutes. Good, it's working. I don't care. Just let's go with it. But yeah, so if I play, you can see in the corner there's a color wheel, and basically what that does is when you paint yourself a color, you can interact with any color that's lit up in the wheel. So these are just like, there's taps in the ceiling that are spilling paint. It would be liquid, but it's like first time using Unity, and I don't know about liquid physics, so I just had it constantly spawning spheres. And this here is a button which I cannot press because I'm red. But if I go and paint myself blue, I can now press the button. And also, if I went back and changed my color again, I wouldn't be able to jump on these blue platforms. I would just fall right through them. I'll show you this with the yellow. See how on the color wheel, yellow is not lit up. So I just fall straight through, and I die if I hit the floor of the map. Originally, it was going to be like beams of light that were being shone by like not torches, but like spotlights. But that was, I did some sort of experimenting in Unity at first, and that was just hard to implement, and I couldn't figure out how to do that without basically just having a solid cylinder that you walk into. So yeah, I had to work on contact, so I was just like, oh well, we'll use paint instead. You can just paint the character. And yeah, so white is like always interacting, so like a white platform is always solid no matter what color you are, or if the character gets turned white, they can walk on any platform and push any button, pull any lever. But if I were to go here, because red and cyan are not, well, cyan does not include red, I wouldn't be able to walk on there, or on the blue. I could try painting myself blue, but I'd have to be careful about this. But the problem is, then there's a yellow platform and a yellow lever, and even though I could paint myself yellow, that would be a problem, because just went through the wall there. Because I would fall through the platform. So obviously I need a color that isn't blue at that point. We'll get some shredded textures there. See, it was originally supposed to be beams of light, but instead we had to change it to paint. But we stuck with the red, green, blue color wheel because, well, personally I like that one better. So I think we probably should have used the red, yellow, blue, orange, purple, green wheel instead. But yeah, is sort of the one we originally planned, and also it'd be good to sort of teach people who don't know that color wheel, or the the light wavelengths, visible light spectrum or whatever. So yeah, basically I just went back there and painted myself green, because yellow is a combination of red and green, so I'm able to walk on the yellow when I'm either red or green, or yellow, and also cyan, because cyan is blue and green. However, I can't walk on the blue or the magenta platforms, and I have to avoid that paint because it'll just make me fall off. Also, falling to the ground is the only like loss condition. There were going to be coloured enemies that would like only, that would pass through you if you were a different colour, but would kill you if you were a similar colour when you touched them. But we just couldn't include that. Just time constraints. We had to do this in like 4 months, so yeah, I finished in 100 seconds. So we couldn't have enemies. And the high scores thing cuts over the title. Yeah, great menus. But yeah, it keeps a list of fastest times you've completed the level, and so we just because we didn't have that much time, because not only was it over 4 months, but we had like 3 other subjects to do at the same time, so I'll just go play level 2. Oh, actually, oh wow, yeah. Looks like it was made in Paint, but so yeah, it's just WASD and E to interact, and use the R to use the bucket, and the bucket is in the second level. So basically what we did is we did like the first tutorial level and like a really late, sort of very hard level, and as you can see it's pretty complicated and there's a lot of stuff in it. I need to get across there at first, and these are blue and that's green, so I should probably start with cyan. So yeah, it's the timer, just counts down and then undoes whatever the button did. So basically if there's no timer attached to a button, and whatever it does is permanent, whereas with levers and pressure plates it's sort of switching on and off. So there's the bucket down there, but we probably won't be able to access it for ages. So these are pressure plates, so if you stand on it, it works. We also got crates that you can pick up and move around and then put on the pressure plates to leave them on. I'm just going to run for this. So yeah, this is gameplay. There wasn't really much story, because oh, there we go. It's because I was still trying to sprint when I was on the same spot. Although it's funny that we have a lot of, when we were doing playtesting, so many people would just try to jump through this and land on the purple thing and just fall through the yellow platform, even though there's, like, if they just turned around they would have seen this one over here. But yeah, this is a blue crate, and since I'm magenta I can actually pick it up. Now, it looks like he's balancing it on his head, but we made a model and a bunch of animations for the character, but they didn't work when we tried to implement them, and we only had like a week and a half before the due date, so we just had to stick with the default character, who doesn't have an animation for carrying things on their shoulders, so it's just floating over his head, or in his head. But yeah, I can drop that. Okay. Oh, okay. Something went weird there. Yeah, but crates also work on the same color mechanics. So say if you're green and there's a blue pressure plate, standing on the pressure plate won't do anything, but you could pick up a cyan box and drop that on the blue pressure plate, and because cyan interacts with both blue and green, it not only allows you to pick it up, but it also pushes the pressure plate down. So that's really useful. There's not too much noise. And there's also, aside from platforms, we also use walls a lot. So you can only go through walls if you're not a valid color. And that's one of the things that actually limits the usage of white paint, because if you can turn yourself white, you can stand on anything, but you can't go through any walls at all, ever. Not even black walls. Oh yeah, so, sorry, I think I may have missed that. If you're white, you can interact with all colors, and if you're black, you fall through any color that isn't, well, not fall through, but like you can't interact with any color that isn't white. So like white and black are just like everything and nothing. This was actually it was originally intended to be 2.5D, but the group decided to be better in 3D, and I was like, yeah, it's actually pretty cool. I mean, it would have been cool in 2.5D, but 3D allows us to have a much larger range of sort of platforming level design, I guess. So it's really cool, but obviously I need to get, because this platform is black, I need to be white to be able to stand on here, so I'll keep going this way. Oh. So talk about also, one of the things I really wanted to do was to be able to use crates as like a zip line. Like, you know, I said before that crates have their own collision mechanics, and so what I wanted to be able to do was, say if you were green, you could pick up a cyan crate and jump onto an angled blue platform, and because you were green, you would fall through the blue platform, but because the box is cyan, it would stay on top of it, and so you would basically just hang on to the box and slide down, but we just couldn't get that to work. And you know, there were a lot of other sort of interactable objects that we just had to cut out due to time constraints and stuff like that. So this is like a really basic sort of alpha build. Oh, yeah. So just wait for the paint takes a while to fall down. So yeah, when you're a secondary color, you can interact with the primary colors that make up that secondary color. So yeah, if I'm cyan, I can do both blue and green. This was actually inspired by Clojure. I was when we started this semester, I'd been playing like a hell of a lot of Clojure. If you guys know what it is, just look it up on you can get it on Steam. It's like really cheap indie game, but it's really clever. Basically, the entire game is in black and white, and it's 2D platformer, but things are only tangible when they're visible. And so basically, you would have lights all over the level, lights that you could, like lanterns you could pick up and carry around, and there would be like spotlights you could go up to and change the angle of them. So like basically, if there was a patch of the ground that was lit up, you could walk along that, but if you left the light on the ground and walked to into the darkness, you would just fall off the level. And so you could carry the light with you, but then you might get to a wall, and you can't go through that wall because you've brought the light with you and the wall is lit up, but you could go back a few steps and drop the lantern on the ground, and so only the bottom half a meter of the wall is lit up, and you can jump on top of that while you're jumping into the wall. Just sort of just got lag spike there. So you could jump through a dark section of the wall and like, you know, you'd have boxes. Say if you had two platforms on top of each other and both are lit up, and the top one has a box on it, and you change the angle of a spotlight so the top one isn't lit up anymore, the box would fall through it and land on the platform underneath. And so it had a lot of like really clever level design like that, and I just really liked that tangibility mechanic, like things becoming intangible, or, you know, depending on circumstances. So and I just really liked the whole intangibility mechanic. So I kind of wanted to do that, but I didn't want everything to, like, I didn't want the entire level to just be black except for these little spots that are lit up. And I didn't want it to be black and white. I wanted it to be colourful. So I thought of, you know, the light, the visible colour, the visible light spectrum of colours. So yeah, that was how it came about. So yeah, it was my idea, which I pitched to the group, and that's the one we ended up like, I don't know if it was voted for, but we, you know, chose to make it. So yeah, you are actually timed when you run through the level. Now, I went through the green side last time, I'll try blue this time. So yeah, Rohan did, the guy who did the level design and building, did a great job on this. It's still a bit buggy because, like I said, we didn't have that much time. And I did all the programming and making all the, like, functionality, making all the in-game objects, assets as they're known in Unity. Whoa, okay, that was close. We had Mackenzie she was doing all the, like, models for stuff. So we had the models of the pipes and pressure plates and levers and all that stuff. We did have, said that you already know, we did have a model for the character and a lot of animations, but they just didn't work for some reason. Should I be... Oh, crap. I do know how to finish the level, I'm just sort of distracting myself by talking. There used to be a lot of ways you could skip big sections of the level by just, like, randomly jumping off in a direction and hoping you land on a spot that's, like, further down, but there's been a lot of walls put up to stop that from happening. So yeah, what else? Just trying to think if I haven't said anything about it that I could. Yeah, I guess I just put a lot of time and effort into this game, so pretty proud of it, even though it's still buggy and there's only 2 levels, but still, I think we did a great job. It was really disappointing that we couldn't use the custom model that we had made. And also, I was pretty disappointed with the 4th member of our group that did hardly anything. It was... I still think it was kind of funny, even though I was really frustrated with it, I still think it was kind of funny though that what he should have done in like 4 months, I did in like the last 2 hours before the thing was due. So yeah. Oh, so the game doesn't have any sound or music, unfortunately. That would have been nice. But yeah, still get that bobbing thing when you're moving on a platform that goes up. Oh god, these again. Okay. Just gotta remember which way to go. So yeah, I need to have that red thing, so I need to paint myself yellow. Now, later in this level, you can actually pick up a paint bucket, and that lets you collect paint. And then what you can do is, even if there's no paint sources nearby, or if like the only paint sources nearby are like colors that aren't beneficial, you can actually use the bucket on yourself and change your color. So you can collect a color and like carry it with you and then use it later. And you can also mix colors. So, but that uses the color wheel up here. So, like if you mix green and red, you get yellow. But if you were to mix, say, yellow and blue, they're opposites. And so, because yellow is green and red, and you're mixing, so you're basically mixing green, red, and blue, and that's all three primary colors. So you get white. If you were to mix, say, green and cyan, well, that's like a double up of green, so it would just go back to green. Yeah, I need to be part blue. So this is pretty interesting. I need to make sure I do not miss this. Red, there we go. Oh, and there's the bucket. So now I have a bucket in the corner. Looks pretty shoddy. That's because the fourth member did that. Like I don't want to be mean because I don't know whether or not he was just slacking off or if he actually like was like busy and couldn't find the time. But yeah, he really did not do much, and like what he did do wasn't that great. Like I don't want to be mean, but I've got to be honest. I was pretty disappointed. Try. This doesn't go anywhere. Oh, if I collect green and magenta together, that makes white. And remember, ages ago I talked about that black platform, and that's right over there. So I can paint myself white and just go over to that. Timing. So yeah, if we had more time, there would have been a lot more to the game. There would have been more levels, more like objects. But still, I think we did really well for the amount of time. And the black wall's a bit suspicious. I'll just collect the yellow paint just in case. Okay. Try going that way, but I think this probably goes to the end. Yes, it does. Let's try and get it at the max length. Jump. And we made it to the end. So it's like, yeah, you reached the exit, and that took me 366 seconds. So yeah, it tells you the top 10 times and the most recent time. Now that 131 was I was only able to do that because I actually cheated. So what we did is we had cheats just for like testing. So, but if you enable cheats, it actually disables the high scores thing. It stops timing you and doesn't save a high score. But you can press the number keys to change your color. And I added, just for fun, it's just like disco mode. So yeah, this is Splash. This is the game we made for the uni game design course, and hope you guys like it. If this gets like a good response, I'll probably actually keep updating it. see you guys in my next video.